welcome to His Excellency Piyush Srivastava, Ambassador of India to Bahrain and patron of Bahrain India Society, Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola, founding chairman of the society, and of course, our main speaker of the evening, Mr. Jamal Fakhro. The topic of this evening's talk, the road to recovery, transforming risks to opportunities, is apt in today's global financial situation. Risk and opportunities are, I believe, two sides of the same coin. In other words, to create an opportunity, one has to take some risks. With his exposure to local and international financial information, Mr. Jamal Fakhro is the perfect candidate to give this talk. But before we come to the main event of this evening, I would request Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola, our founding chairman, to say a few words about his vision of the society, as to what his vision was when he formed the society and how he sees it today. And then His Excellency, the Indian Ambassador, to say a few words as well. And after that, we will have our main talk. And at that time, I would request our General Secretary, Madhavan, to kindly introduce our guest speaker formally. So, Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola, I would request you to please say a few words.
Thank you very much. I will only add to what you said in welcoming and greeting the audience here in this webinar, in particular Ambassador Piyush Srivastava and our speaker Jamal Fakhro and all the participants in this event. I just want to say that you have been extremely successful in terms of choosing the subject of this webinar, which is Road to Recovery, Transforming Risk to Opportunities. There couldn't be better, more timely title or subject to be discussed than this one, in particular at this time. And also, there couldn't have been any better speaker on the subject than the speaker who has agreed, thanks to him, to join us and share with us his views, his very knowledgeable views on this subject. And since it is to do with the risk and opportunities, I do not want to take the risk by making the audience or the participant lose the opportunities of listening to the speakers, which I guess he will be reflecting on the famous saying or the wisdom of that with every calamities or with calamities there is or there will be opportunity. So we should be optimistic and look forward to the opportunities that will be brought forward after this whole episode is over, which hopefully should be very soon. And we know that there will be the opportunities will be in two directions. The first direction is the reconstruction, rebuilding, or reviving of the activities that have been affected badly. And in particular, if I just refer to one sector, which is the travel sector, this sector has lost 1 billion passengers in 2020, last year. And this is the whole year. If you look at them, the majority of them came up on the last 3 quarters of the year, because until March, roughly, things were going normally almost, okay. And the passenger dropped the percentage of almost 75% of the passenger. There is a task now to bring them back. You know, that sector, the travel sector, lost $2 trillion during the last year. So this is only one sector that will need rebuilding, refinancing, restructuring, and remodeling for the circumstances which will be definitely different than last year, you see. Now, the last year was not bad to everybody. You know, that there are sectors that grow tremendously, you know, and the big tech companies we know, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and the like, you know, they grew by 2.5 trillion dollars, the value of their business. The Apple alone valued at $2 trillion, that company, not for the first time it reached that value. You see, talking about the application, we were just talking about Zoom and how we are using Zoom now, and we will continue. These sectors which saw growth, they will not retreat. They will continue to grow. They will continue to develop, and that will give us all opportunities. They bring to us opportunities, which I'm sure Jamal will be illustrating or elaborating more on that. Look at Zoom. In December 2019, the year before, 2000 December, they made only 10 million calls. By April 2020, they reached 300 million calls, you know, in that month, in April. Okay. We know Eric Yuan, the founder of Zoom, his wealth increased by $16 billion last year. So this is a growth, and there are similar activities similar to that, and there are hundreds of them that brings new opportunities, new growth, etc. So while there are opportunities with the rebuilding, reconstructing, restarting the businesses which were affected, the sectors that were affected, those sectors which grow, there are also opportunities for further growth and for similar sectors, technology, the medical sector. All of these sectors are now poised to grow further. One issue, I think, I'm sure the ambassador will refer to it, this situation also gave us an opportunity to look at how we can grow the relationship between our country and India, our two countries. This is an opportunity now to see that we can work closer now, that there are lesser risk in dealing with our next door partners, India, including travel. Since I was referring to travel, the study says that people will not easily go back to long hauls travel. They will not go back. I mean, the revival of the travel will be for shorter sectors. So this is where tourism is important now between this area in general and Bahrain in particular and India. I'm sure the ambassador has even more views on how we can develop and take up the opportunities of growing the relationship and the business between India and Bahrain. Now, finally, I want to say to you, Raj, that thank you for organizing this function. And it has been noted that most of the similar organizations like Bahrain India Societies went quiet during last year because of the pandemic, and understandably so. But our society continued its activities, its functions, its seminars, and this is to be recognized and appreciated to the board of directors. This is a reflection on how, when we looked at starting this organization in 2008, at that time when it was founded, this is one of the objectives, that we should be ready to serve our community, our countries, and our two friendly countries, and contribute in developing and strengthening the relationship between the two. I just thought, I said at the beginning that I don't want to take more time at the cost of the speaker, but it seems that I have let you down. I will stop with this. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul Nabi. It's always good to listen to you. Your words are always encouraging. And as the founding chairman, on behalf of the board, I would like to thank you for your encouraging word to for what we are doing. We really appreciate it. Can I now request our Indian ambassador, His Excellency Piyush Srivastava, to say a few words, please.
Thank you. I first of all, very good evening to all of you. I couldn't agree more with His Excellency Abdul Nabi Shola and Your Excellency Mr. Jamal Fakhro, Your Excellency Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola, Mr. Raj Thamani, distinguished members of Bahrain India Society, other dignitaries who joined us live today. A very good evening to all of you. Let me begin by thanking Bahrain India Society for organizing this event. As uh, Mr. Abdul Nabi Al Shola said that Bahrain India Society has been among the few organizations which have continued during the pandemic time. And it's indeed credit goes to chairman and the entire team. And it's always pleasure to be part of the talk series. And topic for today's discussion is extremely relevant as we slowly move into the post-COVID-19 scenario. The risks presented by COVID-19 pandemic are unprecedented in expanse and its overall impact on society and economy. The mankind has fought the challenge with determination, and the world has witnessed unprecedented cooperation right from the government to private businesses to healthcare and other sectors. If the decline in economy was steep, the recovery also appears to be V-shaped. Even though the road may be a little bit bumpy, but light is visible at the end of the tunnel. The government of Bahrain has been methodical in anticipating and managing the post-COVID scenario through its various policy and structural reforms. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister himself led the kingdom's efforts in dealing with the pandemic as well as post-COVID recovery. The relief package provided by Bahrain for COVID-19 is among the highest in the world. It kept up with its innovative projects in infrastructure and other sectors, attracting investment. The focus by Tamkeen on digital transformation and financial support to ensure sustainability with a special focus on small businesses is exemplary. All these initiatives have played a crucial role in enhancing recovery and sustaining positive growth for vital economic sectors. There are indications already. The expected growth rate for Bahrain has improved from 2.3 to 3.3% in 2021. It received foreign investment of about $1 billion during these difficult times. Similarly, India's response to the pandemic was timely, graded, and proactive. It witnessed one of the lowest mortality rates and highest recovery rates in the world. India, because of its strength in biopharmaceutical and vaccine domains, is one of the major centers in transnational efforts to counter the pandemic. India has supplied medicines and other medical assistance to over 150 countries during the pandemic. Our vaccine production facilities now are key to make vaccine accessible and affordable to the global community. Despite huge domestic demand, India has already supplied more than 15 million doses of vaccines to around 20 countries. Many more are on the way. Two made in India vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, have already been rolled out, while four more are at advanced stages. This is a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative along with other economic reform measures by Government of India to make India a much stronger part of global supply and value chain. This all have made a positive impact on the economic front. India has attracted larger FDI amounting to $57 billion even during the COVID period, against the global trend of decline in foreign investment. Indian economy has also started rebounding fast. The United Nations sees Indian economy recovering by 7.3% this calendar year. And according to a recent report from UNESCAP, Indian economy could prove to be the most resilient in the South and Southwest Asian sub-region over long term. As a result of these proactive measures taken by both our governments, a number of opportunities have opened up for enhanced bilateral economic cooperation. Some sectors have already been mentioned, like tourism, the digital technology, financial services, health, pharmaceutical infrastructure, food security, and renewable energy is another sector which has again emerged as an important area. Our two countries are already very closely collaborating in dealing with COVID-19 pandemic. We are thankful to the leadership and the government of Bahrain for the care and support extended to our community, including providing free vaccination. India is also happy to contribute to the vaccination drive of the kingdom by providing Covishield vaccine. We are committed to further deepen and broaden our bilateral engagement in a variety of sectors. And there are many opportunities, and we will work very closely to strengthen in the sectors which we have mentioned, and also potentially other sectors too. And now, as I think, like me, you all must be waiting to hear from our guest of honor. I think I won't extend it any longer. I would stop and look forward to hearing His Excellency Mr. Fakhro's address and further exchange of views. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Always good to listen to you as well, and very positive feedback you've given us about what India has been doing. We at Bahrain India Society are always there, ready to work with the embassy in any form, be it in any field, and specifically in the field of economics. So we are at your call. You being the patron, we just wait to hear from you in any way that we can further enhance the good relations that exist between the countries. Thank you once again. Now, Madhavan, if you can formally introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Jamal Fakhro, please.
Thank you, Raj. I have the pleasant duty of introducing the speaker for this evening. His Excellency Jamal Muhammad Abdurrahman Fakhro has been a partner of KPMG since 1982. Some of you may know that this firm, earlier known as Fakhro Establishment, is the first accounting and auditing firm established in Bahrain. And he became the managing partner in 1987. He was the first ever Arab to be appointed as a member of the KPMG board and global council. His Excellency Fakhro was the chairman of the KPMG Middle East and South Asia board and member of the KPMG Europe, Middle East and Africa regional board till October 2014. He has over 35 years of experience as a client partner and advisor, and has led cross-border engagements in financial services, oil and gas, government sectors, infrastructure, and communications. He is the relationship partner for a select group of high-profile clients in Bahrain. His key areas of expertise include financial services, including Islamic finance, strategic planning and investments, GCC and emerging markets insights, corporate governance, and family governance. He is a founding member of the founding board member for the Pearl Initiative, the leading independent not-for-profit by business for business institution in the Gulf region, which aims to influence and improve corporate accountability and transparency. He also founded the Jasim Fakhro Fund, a firm-wide program aimed at providing financial and mentoring support for young Bahrainis to pursue the professional qualifications of their choice while gaining work experience within the firm. He is also a veteran legislator and a member of Shura Council, which is Bahrain's upper house of parliament from its inception in 1992. Under the Shura Council, he was also the member of the committee preparing the National Action Charter, member of the assigned committee to follow up recommendations of the Bahrain Independent Commission of Inquiry, and chairman of the Committee on Financial and Economic Affairs. In the year 2006, he was elected as the first vice chairman of the Shura Council, and he has been re-elected for a record 14th consecutive year in October 2020 as the vice chairman again. May I now have the privilege of presenting to you the speaker for this evening, the member of KPMG Bahrain, and the first vice chairman of the Shura Council, His Excellency Jamal Abdurrahman Fakhro. All yours, sir.
Madam, thank you very much. That was too long CV to be read, but thank you. That is really generous from you and from the society. Let me start by first of all welcoming His Excellency the Ambassador of India to this session, and really would like to thank him for all the help his government have given to Bahrain recently, and sharing some of their products of the pandemic vaccine. So thank you very much for that. And also I want to congratulate you, Your Excellency, and your government on the very low number of incidents that have been really spread in India over the last few weeks. Really, we are amazed how you have done that, maybe by blessing of God, but I think we are lucky that the number of incidents and the number of people who have been affected by corona is in decrease. My dear friend Abdul Nabi Shala, the founding member of founding chairman of the society, thank you very much for what you have said. I wish I have the ability to say 50% of you have assumed that I will say, and I hope that I will be able to please everybody in this session. Mr. Chairman of the Bahrain India Society, thank you very much for inviting me, Raj. Raj, thank you very much for inviting me to speak tonight, and I hope I'll be able to share some of my thoughts, ideas on the way forward. Last but not least, I would like to welcome all the members of the society, and I hope that you will have a very interactive session this evening. I will speak only for 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be pleased to take any questions that you have, because I want this to be really interactive. And please don't raise questions to me, but let's have questions to each other and see how we can together look into the future of our businesses. I mean, let me start first of all by the big picture. I think the big picture here in Bahrain, if we want to look at it, we have to look into the government budget and the government financial position. The government budget for 2021-2022 would be approved, I think, by the Parliament by the end of this month or early next month. But we have seen on the press in the last couple of days, the members of the Finance Committee, the two chairmen, have announced how would the budget looks like. And frankly speaking, if we go back into history 2 years back, when we were discussing the fiscal balance of Bahrain, that in the year 2022 we will have an equal balance between the expense and the income, i.e., we will not have any deficit in that year. It is just unfortunate because of the pandemic, because of the drop in oil prices, because of the increased expenses the government have to bear. The picture does not look good. If we assume a $45 per barrel, we would expect our deficit to be approximately 1.27 million to 1.2 million dinar. If we assume $50, which I think this is going to be the price used by the government, then we expect our deficit to be between 1.1 to 1.150. We are way behind our target, and we are way away from what we planned in the year 2019, that by the year 2022 it will be balanced. And as you know, we have been all over these years financing and funding our deficit through borrowing. Up to December this year, I think, I don't have the exact figure, but I would assume our total debt has reached approximately between 12.5 billion to 13 billion dinars. If you add to this amount the estimated deficit of about 2.3 to 2.2 billion in the coming 2 years, that means will definitely exceed our ceiling of borrowing of 15 billion dinars that was raised last year. Having said that, definitely our financial position will not be that good, and definitely this will have a negative impact on the Bahrain rating by global agencies, and we are expecting a rating sometime end of this month by Fitch, and hopefully they will not downgrade us any further. But now really our bonds are treated as junk bonds, or really had a very low rating, and hopefully that this will not be the case going forward, and they will see us as positive as possible. So let's wait until the end of the month and see what would be the result of the rating. But whatever it is, the impact of the rating will have really a big impact on our banks, on their ability to borrow, and definitely their ability to lend. They have to borrow at high rates, and they have to lend at a very high rate. I thought to start with this because this will give us really the overall picture on how I personally believe 2021 could not be a better year, and hopefully that, and I don't know about 2022, but at least 2021 does not look to be a good year, especially that all the estimates suggest that our GDP growth might not exceed between 2 to 3% in this year. So things are difficult, and therefore we have seen the impact of the pandemic on us when the pandemic started to spread in Bahrain in last February, March. We have discovered how unready we are for the crisis in our businesses. I mean, thanks God that the telecommunication have helped us a lot, but really many businesses were not able to connect for a few months because their systems were not ready for that. So what had happened? What else we have learned from the pandemic in the first few months? Definitely, we had faced liquidity risks. We have faced supply chain risk. We really, thanks to Talabat and other players in the market who were able to help us to get out of the supply chain. We had big operation risk, and we have cyber security risk. Many of our companies really did not invest money in their technology, did not invest money in their cyber, and were not able to really to catch up with all the changes. Again, we have new laws came in, and new procedures came in, which have added to the cost and to the difficulties of us doing businesses here in Bahrain. Again, we started to work from home. I always give this story in our firm. 4 or 5 years ago, we thought that we are doing a great job to our people. We said we allow you to go to work from home 2 weeks a year, but you have to fill a form, get approval from direct manager, get approval from your partner, and God knows from how many approvals you need to get to work from home, because, and I think this word is true, that we didn't have that trust in our mind, and really we were judging people then that if they come at 8 o'clock and leave at 6 o'clock, they are good boys and good girls, but if they come at 9 and leave at 5, they are bad. Today, at least again at KPMG, we have more than 75% of our people since last March working from home. We have never asked them, when did you start? We have never asked them, when did you finish? We only tell them, have you produced your commitment or not? So even the way we gauge our people today, rather from being attendance to the office, is really by productivity. So that's a major change is going to happen to us. But are we all ready for that? Is our mindset, you guys, is your mindset ready to accept people really to continue to work from home? I can recall that we have some discussions in the office and within the community and other societies, that when should we call people to come back? We can't call people to come back unless really we have a clear direction from the government that we can have less that the social distancing could be reduced to a minimum where we can utilize the current space of our offices. So there are many risks we have faced really in the past 1 year, and I hope that all of us have learned a good lesson to prepare for the opportunities. Now, with those risks, are we going to close down our businesses? Not at all. Are we going to shrink our business? Not at all. Are we going to fight and assume that we can do better? Yes. And this is really the positive message I think Abdul Nabi tried to put at the very beginning, and His Excellency the Ambassador tried to put at the beginning. We have an issue, but we have a great opportunity to transform our business, our risks into a great opportunity. But the question is, to do that, we need to change. We need to get ready. We need to be prepared. Take as an example, today, Today, we have the government of Bahrain over the last few months, and thanks to the government, have put a package of approximately 4.5 billion dinars of package for our private sector to make use of. Did we make use of all that package or not? This is the first question. Have we been able to really make use of the subsidies the government of Bahrain have given us in terms of loans, deferral, and so on and so on? But now that package could finish by the end of June. We know that the deferral of loans, as an example, will end up at the end of June. The payment of wages is really limited to approximately 20 million dinars, where in the first year it was about 60 to 70 million dinars per month. Now 20 million dinars for 3 months. So the question is, will the government continue, and are we ready not to expect the government to continue? I mean, one of the major issues, and I have been talking to my clients, my banking clients here, is really the loans, the deferral of loans. If that goes off on 30th of June, are we in our businesses ready to be able to restructure our loans or to be able to pay our loans on time? That is a big question, and I would really encourage each one of you to think from today, especially those who have asked for deferral, to think from today if they can live with the current scheduling of payment of loans, or they should start talking to the banks about restructuring their loans on the longer years. Don't leave this until the last minute. Don't do it in May or in June, because banks will be so busy then. This is the first thing we need to do really from today. We go to our bankers, talk to them, and ask them how can they be our real partners going forward. We used to use this word being partners to each other over the last couple of years or many years, but now we want to see our partners, our bankers are really our partners who will stand behind us and not will push us to repay in such a way that we can't. What's about our people? Are we going to let go people from the business? What's about the whole stakeholders in the business? The suppliers, the purchasers, our staff, the landlords, and so on. How we are going to manage all of that? And the issue is that you guys need to sit together in your offices and think seriously how we can convert this pandemic issue, these risks facing us, into opportunities. I think part of the opportunities is, do we think seriously we need to continue in the same line of business, or we should change? Should we focus on the core business that used to bring all the money for us? And we know that the market is changing. The behavior of people is changing. Take as an example, delivery. A year ago, delivery was a strange thing in Bahrain. Today, most of the purchases are done via delivery. Restaurants, food, even the basic shawarmas and the burgers and whatever it is, you get them today delivered to your home. You don't need to have a car to go to the shop to bring it. So are we ready? Did we really arrange? Did we thought of delivery to be a different way of conducting business going forward? The supply chain to receive all our goods and our raw materials, and the supply chain to deliver. Have we thought about it? How this is going to happen tomorrow? Are we supposed to invest in delivery? Are we supposed to invest in companies similar to Talabat and Tawsil and so on and so on? Is our current structure in the organization is working well? Do we need to fly people from the big markets such as in India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka to Bahrain? or our people or our staff could stay wherever at home and do their work from there. How we can benefit from our investment in technology in the last 1 year going forward. And I can tell you a story here. We used to bring approximately 40 staff on short-term secondment from our Indian practice or our South Asian practice into Bahrain. This year, we didn't fly anybody, but we had the same 40 staying at their home, delivering work for us here in Bahrain. And as the chairman, as Raj earlier said, there are going to be a lot of saving of traveling. Yes, we have saved a lot on traveling, accommodation, and per diem. So we need really to think how that this pandemic is going to have an impact in changing the way we operate our business. And I can tell you, we can come up with great ideas, simple ideas, great ideas, but we need to change our mindset. We, the old generation, need really to step back a bit and to bring the new generation who understand technology and who can really make use of technology to convince us how we can make use of this technology to deliver a lower cost service and products. So there are lots of things that, in my opinion, could be done if we sit and think, but we need to sit and think now. Go and talk to your advisors, whoever advise you on your business, whoever advise you legally, whoever advise you on financial statements. Go and talk to them and share with them your issues. Don't hide. Never hide anything today. It is your chance to change to the better. If we don't move quickly, if we don't take the right decision today, it will be too late for us if we do them in the middle of the year. Have we ever thought really about the combination of our people? Today, Tamkeen are continuing their Bahrainization support, whereby you will get support for 70% of the first year, 70% of the salary for the first year, 50% for the second year, and 30% for the third year. So an average of 50% over 3 years. Have we thought seriously to bring those Bahrainis in? Help, first of all, our economy to reduce the unemployed number, and number two, to help ourselves rather than paying a full salary to bring people who are of good quality at a lower salary. Have we thought of the training programs Tamkeen are doing now? They started again, or they will start again, to fund and finance all the training program. Have we thought of making benefit out of that? Going forward, have we thought of the talent management? What kind of people we want in our organization? Are we seriously going to recruit the same quality of people we used to recruit in the past? I believe no. Today, you need people who understand technology and understand utilization, who can help you a lot in delivering your product, your services at a lower cost. We used to invest a lot in technology, but the usage of that was very minimal. I think today we need to continue investing in technology, but our usage should be bigger. Have we thought I think most of us here on this meeting, and I couldn't see all the pictures and the names, but most of us really are in that age where we need to think seriously about our succession plan. This is the right time for us to sit and think about succession plan, where we can bring our second generation into the business, train them while we are able to train them and lead them and give them responsibility. And succession plan not only for us, the owners or the leaders or the CEOs, whatever it is, but even for the other levels in the organization. This is an area where really we need to think again seriously, that if anything happens to us tomorrow, we have somebody to take over. We need to groom the young generation, especially in the family businesses. They need to take over, they need to learn, and I can tell you, they can do business much more better than us. The way they conduct business is very efficient and really in a very proper cost manner. Let me close here and open the floor for discussions. But I want to say one thing. Whatever the size of your organization, whatever the size of the manpower you have, whether you have 10 or you have 10,000, you need to sit and think about your future strategy. And don't take the word strategy. Don't take the word strategy and its big picture. Even planning for the coming 2 to 3 years could come under the word strategy. Don't go to spend money, but sit in your office, think about what I need to do differently to really to be able to stand on my feet, rebuild my practice going forward. It is time for us to think, and believe me, there are lots of opportunity in this market. We just need to think differently on the services we are providing and on the businesses we are providing and on the products we are providing. Mr. Chairman, I'll stop here. I'm sorry, I think I took more than the 10-15 minutes. Somebody should have asked me to stop, but you have been very generous with me, you and Madhavan on that. So I will stop here and will take any questions from the audience.
We didn't have the heart to stop you, sir. It was going so well and so informative. I don't think it would have been fair on our part to ask you to cut it short.
If I may step in, first of all, Jamal, thank you very, very much. It was absolutely, I mean, what should I say? Everybody was listening to you. It's literally been like free advice to all businesses. And all of us are either professionals or businessmen here. And this has been really good advice. I'll just take on 2 points before I open the floor for questions. We're talking of everybody looking to reschedule their loans, and I'm sure everybody is looking at it. But, you know, talking of banks as partners, I don't know how many bankers we have in the audience, but I always say bankers are people, when it's raining, when it's sunshine, they want to give you an umbrella, and when it's raining, they want the umbrella back. So I do not know how ready they would be to participate in restructuring the loans, because they will come with their own excuses as to how difficult it is when everybody wants the loan to be rescheduled. Some good advice from you here on this, perhaps. And a second question to this is, you're talking of country ratings. We know Bahrain has got a very low rating right now, and we are nearly at the junk rating. For any country's development, borrowing is very important. And when you borrow, your rating is obviously of the prime thing that they look at is your rating. With low rating, I have seen whenever any bonds are issued by Bahrain, the first people to pick up those bonds are local banks rather than any other international banks. How long can local banks support Bahrain's borrowing? Is it a sustainable thing? And this work in the long term? Your views on that, please.
Well, thank you, Raj. Let me just correct one thing at the very beginning. This is not a free advice. I will send my bill to the society tonight before midnight.
Thank you. I'll have the bottle of wine sent to you.
I have learned this from Khalid Zayani. He's smiling. So on restructuring, I can tell you that the banks today, and I don't know how, as you said, how many bankers we have today, but really I have been talking to a few bankers in the last couple of weeks, and every single one is very positive to put their hand in the hand of their clients to make them stand on their feet. I will tell you one thing, none of these banks want to see companies goes down. It will cost them more than helping the company to stand on its feet. It is a win-win situation. Our banks have learned that they really need to deliver on restructuring. And I know some of the banks who have started really recently to bring specialist restructuring people to support their team. Because as all of you know here, that the mindset and the thinking of the restructuring is totally different than the mindset of the credit manager and relationship manager, which have been in the past are the point of contact with the client. But don't wait for the banks to come to talk to you. You go and talk to them, prevent yourself, because the banks have got hundreds of thousands of clients who want to restructure, but you have only 1 or 2 banks to talk to them. So it is easy for you to go to approach your banks, talk to them, and find out how you can really work with them from today, rather waiting until the 1st of July. They will not have time for you. They will never have time to give you tomorrow as much as they can give you today. On the low rating, I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, we cannot do a lot with that. With the current government fiscal imbalancing, the current high expenditure of the government budget and low income for the government budget, unfortunately, we are unable to do a lot. If you can recall, last 2 years back, when the GCC countries started to support us in the financial stability reform program, our rating went one notch up. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we went back 1 notch down. So all it depends really on the circumstances around us. We know that we have been supported and hopefully will continue to be supported by the GCC countries, but also we know that GCC countries are facing some difficulties themselves. So their generosity, I don't know whether this will continue or not. Hopefully it will continue, but yes, it is a difficult time. And therefore, really, the word who have been saying in the past, cash is king, today, really it is cash is king. Ensure that you don't spend money in your businesses that you can defer to the next year or years. Ensure that you personally would not withdraw money from your businesses. Ensure you personally will save money. And really we need to ensure that going forward, people mindset is really on the saving rather than on consuming. This is a big change of mindset that I think in our society, as the Bahrain India Society, and our businesses need to encourage our people to stop really overspending and start to think how to save. It will on the funding, it will be difficult. Exchange rate of interest will be a bit high, but let me tell you one thing: the recent $2 billion worth of bonds we have issued, it was covered, I think, about 5 or 6 times, and not only by local banks, it was covered by international banks, and we have got very good rates. We had the 2 years or the 3 years rating, I think it was about 4.5%, compared to what we have paid a few years back, about 7%. This shows some good rating for Bahrain. I hope I have answered the question, Raj.
You have. Thank you very much. Very well answered. Thank you.
I would request the members to put their questions in the comment box if possible, or at least write your name there so that if I don't see your hand being raised, I can ask you to speak up.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Madhavan?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, on the question of Mr. Damani, Mr. Fakhro mentioned about the bankers' willingness to restructure the loans in Bahrain. However, since Mr. Fakhro is the business leader and the government leader, I would like to request him to impress this upon Central Bank of Bahrain as well, because there are rules for bankers on restructuring loans and classifying NPA and non-performing loans, etc. And they have to be relaxing those rules for the banks, otherwise they won't be able to restructure the loans for businesses. This is point number 1. The point number 2 is, as Mr. Fakhro rightly said, the yields on Bahrain government bonds of late have come very low. 7-year was 4.5% recently, and currently with the price appreciation, it's around 3.9% or so. However, one thing I always feel in the interest of Bahrain, having been a long resident of Bahrain, is this, that people like Mr. Fakhro should impress upon the new government structure that they should reduce their government expenditure. After all, Bahrain is a small country. There is no need to have an embassy in every country in the world. The size of the government which this tiny country or Bahrain is carrying is also huge. These expenditures are really required, frankly speaking, as a fiscal prudence to reduce the fiscal deficit. And the new finance minister was working in the right direction before this pandemic hit. But again, fiscal prudence will be needed in those areas where they can find, and that only will take our rating to a better standard. Otherwise, we will go below B, where we are. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sushil. First of all, let me just correct one thing. I'm not an influential or senior member of the government. I have nothing to do with the government. I am here tonight as member, as the managing partner of KPMG, and I always appreciate that people who sometimes would link me with the government because of my role at the Shura Council. But really, that's a total different role than being part of the government. I think the government have been trying their best to minimize the expenses. If you can recall, we have reduced, the government have reduced over the last 1 year with the early retirement of their people. We have asked our government staff to go on retirement. I think we had about 8,500 employees went on retirement. This have saved the bill, the salary bill of about 150 million dinars per annum. So that is one of the areas. Believe me, the government today we are spending the minimum on our other expenditure. Still, our salary package, our salary bill is about 1.4 billion. It's still high. Maybe going forward, this could be reduced. And as I said, by using technology, by having a proper staff being employed, and so on and so on, that could be reduced a bit. And the budget for capital expenditure, i.e., for investments to be spent in Bahrain, is again have went down to 300 million dinars or 275 million dinars, whatever the figure is. That is a very small amount. So really, we are running the government with approximately 1.3 billion dinars. That is not a lot of money to spend on everything: defense, interior, security, businesses, social security, grants, and so on and so on. So there are lots of expenses on the government to continue doing. On the issue of the CB rules, I totally agree with you, and I think the CB understand that carefully, and they have been talking to the banks, and they are asking the banks to really be firm and serious on the issue of restructuring and helping the banks. Over the past few months, since the government started that package, CB made available 3.7 billion dinars worth of cash, free of charge, free of interest, for banks to withdraw to support their position. So that is something was again given by the government. I can tell you the issue of restructuring is not anything anymore to do between you and your bankers. It is a national issue. Restructuring is a national issue, a national matter, and I'm confident both the government and the central bank are looking at it in this manner, because today it is not your shop which will go down or my shop will go down. It is really the impact of employment, the impact of the economy, impact of the creditors, impact of the bankers, and so on and so on. And therefore, banks understand their banking responsibility, but also they understand their national responsibility. And I hope I am the bank that I am with my positive message. I hope, and I'm confident that the banks will be in that manner, that they will definitely take their social responsibility, their national responsibility, and will help businesses as much as they can. Again, they are strict with certain rules at the central bank, and the central bank cannot go below certain rules, but they can be flexible on certain of them, which I think they are doing quite well. So let's hope we will see this reflected in the way central bank deal with its clients going forward.
Mr. Balasubramaniam had a question. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Fakhro.
Hi, Balu.
This is Balu. My first question is, under the circumstances, do you think that there is a possibility of they're looking at the VAT, where currently we are at 5% and our neighbor is at 15%? So that's my first question. The second point that I would like to mention here is that we have been talking to a few banks regarding our clients, especially in the restaurant business, in the travel business, and so on. In that sector which is affected, and the banks tell me that this particular sector we are not at the moment touching or not interested, etc., etc. So that is the second point that I wish to bring to your notice, and I would like to hear your comments. Thank you.
Well, really, on the second point, I couldn't understand the question here, but let me answer your first point. On VAT, so far we have not heard from the government that they want really to increase the percentage. Still, it is clearly that the 5% will continue, and I don't think there is any intention in the short term to increase the VAT or introduce any form of taxes. I mean, clearly the government have been clear on that no new tax to be no taxes to be introduced, and VAT will stay as it is. At least we didn't see any change in the budget of the government. The government budget for 2021-2022 was based on 5% VAT received on for the budget. So hopefully it will not be increased because normally when your economy goes down, you release release your taxes rather than introduce your taxes because the whole idea is to have the economy to continue and to grow. So I don't expect the government will do anything on taxes in the coming few years. On restaurants and the aviation sector, airline sector, really I don't know what is the question here.
Actually, can I because for example, if they want an enhancement or if they want an extension, they are reluctant to do that. They just because the restaurant is already affected by the pandemic. They don't have the turnover. Talabat is charging them 23-24%, so their margin is reduced. They have to maintain the staff. They are trying to prune down, but still the banks are reluctant to do anything with regard to their facility.
Yeah. Well, this is what I said earlier. I said earlier, you need to go. People need to go to talk to their banks and put to them the real position. If we don't get your support, we will go down, and you will lose all the money due to us. This will have an impact on our economy, will have an impact on employment, and so on and so on. And really, I don't know what the bank would do with the small club. But I was talking today with the CEO of a bank. He said, Jamal, we have got a list of 300 clients of the small and medium size. We have been talking to them, and we believe that we will be able to support them. Now, maybe you are talking about a very small restaurants. I don't know who are their bankers, but I think the message in the market is really try to help as much as you can, try to help the businesses. Now, are we going to avoid any bankruptcy? No way. Are we going to minimize number of bankruptcy? Yes. But it really, and so far, thanks God, so far we didn't have any major company or medium-sized company who went into bankruptcy or really announced that they'll be bankrupted. Okay, which give an indication that we are way better than many other countries in the region, outside the region, that went into bankruptcy in the last few months. Are we facing difficulties? Yes, they are facing difficulties. And here it comes when they sit and think together what they can do. See, one of the other things that people are not thinking seriously about, and I forgot to mention it, is merger and acquisitions. Those small restaurants, if they work together as a group, they will save a lot on the production cost. They will continue, they can stay in the same place they are, but they will save on the kitchen, they will save on the people, they will save on the chef, they will save even when they purchase bulk from the market, and so on and so on. So mergers and acquisition is really something people need to think about, whether they are small or they are big. So that's an area for you guys to think about, and for you, Balu, to advise your clients.
Thank you, sir.
I will charge you for this.
Thank you.
I do not know whether we can take any more questions. We already crossed 8 o'clock. Mr. Chairman, do you think we should continue with the questions? Excellency Fakhro, will you be able to take any more questions?
Hello, can I?
There's one question from Soman. Yeah. Yes, Soman, go ahead.
It was an excellent presentation, sir. It was really great. I just wanted to ask you about, you said 75% of your staff are working from home. How did you find them efficient? And did you reduce their salary? Or how long you are going to keep them like that? That is my first question. And the second one is about the companies in India. They are very efficiently managing some of the sectors. You have any plans to forge greater ties with Indian companies? That's all. Thank you.
Well, someone, thank you very much. I mean, on our staffing, definitely they have been very productive, and yes, not necessarily the same productivity as when they come to the office, but they were able really to deliver to our clients their needs and their services on time without any hiccups or without any complaints.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of my staff came to see me a few weeks back, and I said, how often do you come to the office? He said, from February until last December, he said, I came only for 3 days.
Okay.
And he said, I used to work in the office from 8 to 6, and now I work from home from 8 to 4. And my performance manager and my director never complained about me in delivering my service to my clients. So this pandemic have taught us one thing, that we can do the same work, the same job. Again, it depends on the kind of services you provide, whether you are in the office or you are at home. The better it is, if you use effectively, efficiently technology today and calls, Zoom, Teams, and so on, to conduct your meetings with your people, you will not feel that they are far away from you. In the old days, you sit with them in the boardroom, talk to them, and so on and so on. But now, really, you can do everything exactly the same thing we used to do, but on the Zoom and on Teams. So we have seen, yes, there is a little drop in efficiency, but not to the extent that it's having an impact on us. I think if this continues like this, the efficiency will go back, it will go up, and people will get used to working from home. Some of our staff want to come back to the office, and others say, no, we think we can do the same work from home. So we are relaxing on that, and we are not pushing anybody. We are not pushing anybody to come to the office at this stage. In terms of salaries, no, we didn't touch our staff salaries. Thanks to our clients. We are still providing services to our clients. Our clients are supporting us as much as we are supporting them. So all our staff have received their salaries. We did not let go any of our staff for the reason of the pandemic. We have asked people to leave because of their performance, not only for this year, but it is an accumulated low performance from them. And this is an annual review we do to our staff, and this is an annual exercise. We normally pay bonuses to our people. This year, again, we paid bonuses to our people. Maybe not the same amount of money, but whatever we made, we shared our profit with our people like any other year. So that went well. Using India, yes, we use India, KPMG office in India to help us. And as I said, normally we bring 30 to 40 people to Bahrain. This year we make them stay in their offices back home and serve us from home, and it's exactly the same. So it is just really how you can, whether your business will allow you to do that, to work from home effectively, efficiently, or you need people to fly back. If they work from home, it will be way cheaper for you to produce the work to your clients. I'm sure Balu now will get this advice and go and implement it in his office.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think there are further questions.
I have Madhavan. I think what we would do is, since Jamal's talk is so interesting and his advice is so good, we will make it till 8:15. Let's not lose this opportunity. With of course, Jamal's, if it's okay with you, Jamal.
With my pleasure.
Thank you.
Are there any questions anybody would like to?
I think Bhagwan has been raising his hand for quite some time, and after that, Abdul Rahman. Bhagwan, go ahead.
Very good evening, Your Excellencies. I'll make more few of the observations rather than question, to be very frank and open. When we heard Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola, then the ambassador, I thought, they've already covered Mr. Jamal's 50% of the observations, but no, I was wrong. I think Mr. Jamal added so many points. I would like to mention that, whatever Mr. Jamal has mentioned, yes, the excellent points. They have re-emphasized, we have been in Bahrain for 5 generations. So we know whatever he has mentioned, we have, during this pandemic time, we have diversified succession plan. Yes, we have already implemented. Thanks, Mr. Jamal, for, it is re-emphasizing whatever then. So it is reconfirming from an expert like you. And then again, continuous thinking. Yes, we have been spending a lot of time at the management and HOD levels of continuously rethinking, redesigning, redeveloping. And even I would say, I would like to put it on the record. You said take advice from advisors. I think we have one of our advisors, Mr. Khalid Sayani. I think we have been using his expert opinion, to be frank, virtually, on the virtual platform. So really, I think, yes, this pandemic, I think we are not nervous at all. It is a challenging time. And as rightly this event says, opportunities. Yes, I think, every problem has opportunities. Somebody's gain is somebody's loss. So we have tried to really sort of, some of our businesses have sort of gone down, but some have really gone up, and we have tried to take a due advantage of, the situation that, we could diversify, we could change our business. That's all I wanted to make an observation from a practical businessman's point of view, what particularly Mr. Jamal has mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhagwan. Thanks a lot.
May I?
Sure.
Jamal, thank you. Thank you very much for this presentation. It's a mind-opening. I agree with you. I mean, that's fantastic. One thing, which is because of the pandemic, the business model is changing. And if I need, instead of recruiting some specialized engineers or something now, I am seriously, actually, I am already in contact for subcontracting or outsourcing to Indian companies. Now, saying this, in the long run, and many companies, by the way, doing it, I know the engineering, and that's, for the automation and this and the oil and gas and various things. My only concern is the Bahrainization. Now, what happened in my business, I have, of course, Bahrainis, some of them are 32, one of them actually 35 years with me. They are in position production and the other one is design estimation. Now, these guys, they have been groomed by myself with the engineers all these years. So what about the next one? I mean, if we kept outsourcing, who's going in my company or some others train the Bahrainis? This is my concern.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, this is a good point, Abdurrahman. I mean, first of all of us here in this meeting today have big responsibilities to the Bahrainis who are unemployed, and I think we need a commitment of everybody on this call to look into this point seriously, because the longer these boys and girls are unemployed, we might be faced with social unrest, and we have to be very careful that we don't reach to that point, because people cannot wait. Being graduated from schools, their parents have paid their salary, their fees and tuition fees and so on, and they come out of school for universities and they couldn't find a job for a year or 2 or 3 or 4. So this is something I think if we believe in corporate social responsibility, employment of Bahrainis is part of our, should be seen at least in the short time as corporate social responsibility. And as I said, if you go today to employ a Bahraini, you will pay only 30% of his salary. He will be very cheap, and you can really have him trained. Now, you don't need to have his mentor to be with him in the office. At KPMG, what we used to do in the past years, we take approximately between 50 to 80 interns from university every year. They come to train in the office for about between 4 weeks to 12 weeks, depends on their need and requirements. With the pandemic, at the first few months, we were not able to take interns. Really, we did not know how to handle that. Now, in the past few months, we started to take back those interns. They work from home. They come one day to the office, meet with their mentors, but they work from home. We give them their laptops. We teach them how to use it. We give them some all the training they need, either online or in the office, and they go back to work from home. So they learn, they get the learning from their mentors from distance. They teach them what to do. They talk to them, and they train them. So your companies, whom you are signing with them, whether they are in India or anywhere in the world, you need to put part of your condition is that I will put a shadow, a Bahraini shadow, that I want you to train him for the coming 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. This is part of the conditions of the contract with them. And I can tell you, none of them would say no, because they know that they are outsourced, and you can go into the market today and find many companies who will accept your business to be outsourced to them. So the competition on the outsource is available. Sometimes you can put some of your conditions, and you can help your Bahrainization plan. Yes, you will know you would never live the full time on having people working from outside, because you need people from Bahrain, and as I said, have them try to have a couple of these young Bahrainis seconded online to these outsourced company, and see how could they train them or not. And you'll be amazed. You will be amazed how they can learn. I can tell you from my experience in the office, we have many of our people. I think today we have about 30 Bahrainis on internship, and all of them are working from home. It is working. It's just our mindset that you need somebody to train him. He needs to sit next to you. Now it's not anymore. You don't need him to sit next to you. You need to have the tools where you can talk to him easily and train him easily.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamal. Once again, I would now request Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola and the Indian ambassador to give 2 very short closing comments before I call the meeting off. Mr. Abdul Nabi Shola, first. You're muted, Abdul Nabi. You're muted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, well, thank you, Raj. Thank you very much for organizing this event, and we are all grateful to Jamal for his participation and for the views that he has really shared with us. And I could see, and we had together, I think 60 participants who were extremely engaged with the views that Jamal has reviewed with us and presented to us. And the time is sometimes is a constraint, but I think we managed to cover as much as possible. I think there is a lot of ideas that Jamal has presented, which will make us all go back and think about it, the opportunities available now. And then I think there was a reference to Talabat, for example. I believe they're charging more than 20% of the thing they deliver, and they have almost a monopoly now. This is an opportunity now for new applications, which is not very complicated. It can be started. We have people here with the skills and the brains to initiate such initiatives, or to make such initiative. With this, I think there is nothing can be added. Jamal has covered the subject from most of the angles that the time permit him to to do, for which we are really grateful to him. Thank you very much, Jamal, and we're grateful to all the participants.
Thank you, Rashad. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Abdul Nabi. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. Damani. And I second what His Excellency Abdul Nabi has said. What a fantastic presentation. It was very, very informative. I mean, it was like learning so many new things, so many new aspects, Your Excellency. And I really enjoyed, and more than enjoyment, I also learned. And thank you so much. And thank you, Bahrain India Society, for inviting me for such a fascinating talk. And all the participants also to making this conversation very lively. And at the end, I would just say that I heard that there are a lot of opportunities on individual basis. A lot of business people are trying to work on certain sectors in promoting business with India. We are there in the embassy, and if anything is needed, please feel free to let us know. Whatever possible, we will provide assistance and always work with Bahrain India Society to further our relations. Once again, thank you, Your Excellency, for a fascinating talk.
Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you, Ambassador Srivastav. Jamal, you are a hit. So be ready for a Jamal 2.0 session again. All right. And for that, I'll send you a premium bottle of wine this time.
Well, let me see the first one first, and then I will decide.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all the participants. I think we have had an excellent event.